Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Springfield Echelon 4.0C. So the Echelon is definitely not a new gun. In fact, it's been out for some time now, but this is the compact model, designed to compete in that Glock 19 style handgun space, which is a great thing because we definitely don't have enough of those guns on the market.
Got him! Got him!
So all jokes aside, tons of features to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into it. First off, and I get that this is subjective, is the aesthetics. I think this thing looks awesome with all the slide cuts and the front cocking serrations and the stippling or the texturing on the frame. It looks like a custom gun right out of the factory. But these aren't just for looks either. The slide cuts or front cocking serrations as well as the fins towards the rear of the slide are actually quite functional. Really easy to rack the slide, never had any issues even when my hands were cold or wet. Now getting into the frame, you can see that Springfield actually built a gas pedal into it. Initially, I'll be honest, I thought this might be kind of gimmicky, but after getting out and running the gun, I actually found it to be pretty intuitive. My thumb does actually naturally want to rest in that ledge, and I found that I could actually tame the recoil pretty well by utilizing this gas pedal. There's also a nice undercut under the trigger guard, and if you look, the curvature of the spine actually allows you to really jam the webbing of your hand into the grip here, so it allows you to get a pretty high grip while also being pretty darn comfortable. The trigger I would say is decent. I wouldn't say it's the selling point of the gun. It's an OEM striker fired trigger, nothing really to write home about. It's a little on the heavy side. There is a little bit of creep until the trigger actually breaks, but there is a nice and audible tactile reset, so overall, I'd say the trigger wasn't going to be an asset, but I wouldn't call it an impediment either. Now, where the gun really shines is going to be the optics mounting system. The Echelon actually doesn't use optics mounting plates. Instead, you're able to mount the optic directly to your slide via what Springfield calls the variable interface system. These are basically just collections of different pins that are going to come with the gun that allow you to mount optics to the slide directly, and they're compatible with the RMR, the RMSC, and the Delta Point Pro footprint, pretty much covering all the bases for all the mainstream optics that are out there right out of the box. So I would say that's a pretty good value. The Echelon is also going to come with a set of quality iron sights. There's going to be a rear U-notch as well as a night sight up front, and these are going to provide a lower 1/3 co-witness right out of the box, which I definitely appreciate because in my mind at least, it makes it feel like Springfield had optics users in mind when they designed this pistol. Now where the Echelon also stands out, sorta, is that it's a chassis system. So this actually operates under what Springfield calls the Central Operating Group. It's pretty much its response, or it's pretty much its answer to SIG's P320 and P365's FCU, or Removable Fire Control Unit. So the chassis is actually what's considered the firearm. Of course, the idea is to offer a variety of different options for you to have modularity, swap between different slides, between different frames, and basically operating multiple different guns off of one single chassis. And overall, I do think the modular system is going to be where the market ultimately takes us, and it has been cool to see brands like Springfield and even Ruger capitalize on that momentum when it seems like other brands are hesitant to do the same. So we've got a pistol that feels great in hand, it looks awesome, it's got easy to control recoil, and it's got a great optics mounting system right out of the box. None of that is going to matter, however, if the gun doesn't go bang when we need it to. Well, I'm happy to say that in the 400 rounds or so I've put through this thing, I've experienced zero malfunctions. And I want to go ahead and point out that I didn't clean or lubricate this thing at all. Took it out of the box, took it right to the range, and immediately started the review testing process. So to have zero malfunctions in 400 rounds overall, I feel pretty comfortable that, at least for now, saying that this gun's pretty reliable. So now we talked about what I like about the Echelon. Let's go ahead and get into what I'm not too crazy about, and frankly there isn't a ton. For one, only comes with 2 mags. You've heard me talk about this with other guns and other videos. I believe pistols should come with 3 magazines, especially if they're going to market it as a duty gun. 2 mags just feels like a bit of a cop-out. This is just one of those hills that I'm willing to die on. Another thing I'm not really fond of is that there's this square cutout in the magazine well. Not really sure why it's there. Maybe there's a perfectly valid reason that I just don't know about. But I actually found that it interfered with my reloading while I was shooting. I get it. That's a training issue. I can work around that. But I did find it to be a little bit annoying. Last thing, super minor. Not a huge fan of the OEM slide catch. I found it to be a little bit difficult to actuate as I was shooting. I wish it was a little bit bigger. Again, not an enormous deal. I can definitely work around it, but just wanted to point it out as something that was not my favorite. So overall, I'd say the Echelon is a great addition to the polymer frame striker fire handgun market. Shoots well, feels great in the hand. It's got a great optics mounting system right out of the box. And so far, it's been really reliable and pretty dependable. So I feel pretty comfortable recommending this gun to just about anybody. We'll see how the durability and reliability play out long term, but overall, I'm feeling pretty optimistic. So those are my thoughts on the Echelon, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this particular pistol. Would love to know your guys' thoughts. Got more content headed your way real soon, but until then, see you next time.